The day Peter dipped his hand into the pot, he screamed in pain. But when he looked at the floor, bundles of money were scattered everywhere. That was the day he realized wealth sometimes comes at a terrible price. In the good town of Albany lived a man named Peter. Peter was very poor. He had a wife named Grace and 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls. Out of everybody in that town, Peter was the poorest. People knew him for being poor and they ridiculed him openly. Whenever he passes, they laughed, whispered, and mocked him. Because of everything that was happening to him, Peter began to feel that he was cursed. He became very desperate. He allowed what others were saying to get into his head. And sometimes he treated his family like trash, as if they were the cause of his suffering. But his wife, Grace, was very different. She was loving, gentle, and comforting. No matter how badly Peter treated her, she was always there for him. She never complained. She never insulted him. She believed in him even when he had stopped believing in himself. His children were also supportive. Despite the way he treated them, they never left their father's side. They understood why he was acting that way. And they all wished that one day things would get better. But the truth was, things kept going from bad to worst. All the children in Albany had gone to university, except Peter's children. It reached a point where the family could only eat once a day. Life became extremely difficult. Everybody in the village avoided them. They called them a cursed family. No one wanted to associate with them because they feared inheriting the curse. Still, Peter's family remained supportive. They went out every day to do whatever they could to get little money so they could eat. Grace was always out selling roasted corn, but it was very difficult. Almost nobody wanted to buy from her because they believed that if they ate anything she sold, they would become cursed just like her family. Peter became more desperate. Instead of standing with his supportive family, he began to maltreat them even more. He beat his wife as if she was the cause behind his problem. He treated the children as if they were not his own. One day, while Peter was walking around the outskirts of the town, he came across a strange brown pot, very old. When he looked inside it, he could not see the bottom. It was completely dark. Curious, Peter decided to dip his hand inside. He could not feel the bottom, so he dipped further and further until his hands were completely swallowed by the pot. Still, he could not feel the end. Suddenly, something strange happened. He felt a sharp pain in his hand, as if a knife had tore his skin. He quickly pulled his hand out and saw that they were lightly wounded, with blood dripping from his finger into the pot. He was afraid. Then after a short moment, money appeared on the ground. Peter gasped. He could not believe what he was seeing. What just happened? He whispered. Was it my blood that brought this money? What kind of pot is this? He kept asking himself these questions again and again. Then he placed his wounded hands over the pot again. Immediately, his blood dropped inside and more money appeared on the ground. That was when he understood what was happening. The money was enough to feed his family for 2 weeks. At first, he was afraid to touch it. But when he finally picked it up, he realized it was real. His jaw dropped. He looked at the pot again, trying to understand what it truly was, but he couldn't. He wanted to try it again, but fear held him back. So he hid the pot where no one could see it, took the money and left. Peter went to the market, bought enough food and returned home. When he arrived, his family was shocked. "Where did you get the money to buy all these things?" Grace asked. "Don't worry about it," Peter replied. But all that was in his mind was the pot. Soon, an idea came to him. What if I use a chicken instead of human blood? That night, he stole his neighbor's chicken. The next day, he took it to the pot. He was scared at first, but he gathered courage and threw the chicken inside. To his surprise, the chicken flew out and started running. It was still alive. It was as if the pot rejected it. Confused, Peter decided to try a goat. He stole one that same day. The goat was big, so he cut part of its body and let the blood drip into the pot. Immediately, the blood flew back out. When some touched him, he screamed. The blood burned his skin like an acid. The pot was angry. Realizing this, Peter cut himself deeply and let more blood fall into the pot. This time, money appeared on the ground, much more than before. Peter now understood that the pot wanted human blood. He paused and thought to himself, "This is wrong. I should not have taken the money the first time. I don't know where this pot came from, and now it's demanding blood." He turned to leave. But then he remembered the poverty, the ridicule, the suffering. "I can't go back to being poor," he said. But still, he decided to leave the pot for good. But as he walked away, he noticed the pot had disappeared, along with the money. Shocked, Peter ran back and begged, "I'm sorry, I won't leave again." Immediately, the pot reappeared with the money. Peter took the money and left. But what he didn't realize was that leaving for good would have been the best decision of his life. But going back was the worst. Peter wanted more. Slowly, dark thoughts entered his mind. What if I use one of my children? He thought. At least, I have 4 children. He thought of this day and night until he convinced himself that it was the right decision. One day, he pretended to go out to work. Before leaving, he secretly hid the slippers of his first daughter, Joy. Back at home, the rest of the family prepared to go hustle as usual. Joy suddenly said, "Did anyone see my slippers?" They all laughed. "Big girl like you don't know where you kept your slippers?" One of her siblings said, "When you find them, then you can come," another added. They all left her behind. Peter came out of where he was hiding. "Joy, where are the rest?" he asked. "They've gone. I couldn't find my slippers," she replied. Peter smiled. "I rushed back because I wanted to take all of you to the new place I am working. The salary is huge. We won't be poor anymore. Since they've gone, I'll take you first." Joy was happy. "But I can't still find my slippers," she said. "Oh, let me help you," Peter replied. He went straight to where he had hidden them and brought them out. "I've been looking for them for almost an hour," Joy said happily. "Thank you very much, Dad." Peter only nodded and they left together. As they walked through the thick forest, Joy asked, "Why are we going through the forest? Is this where the job is?" "We are taking a shortcut," he replied. "We will get there soon." When they reached the pot, Joy froze. What kind of pot is this? It doesn't seem to have a bottom. As she was observing it, Peter attacked her from behind and knocked her unconscious. She fell to the ground. Her body touched the pot and she disappeared. Before Peter could even react, bundles upon bundles of money appeared. He gasped. He was so happy that he didn't care whether Joy was alive or dead. But the money was too much. Peter looked at it and wondered how he would carry everything. He packed some bundles into the bag he had brought with him. Then he went back to the town and bought a large mansion that was for sale. After that, he bought a big truck that would carry the remaining money. He drove quietly through hidden paths so no one would see him. He loaded the money, bundle after bundle, until nightfall. When he was done, he drove the truck to the new mansion, packed it, and returned home. The rest of the family had already come back home, but Joy was nowhere to be found. They were worried. They had left her home, and since then, they had not seen nor heard from her. They were also worried because Peter had not returned from work either. What is happening? They kept asking one another. They sat outside the house waiting, hoping that Peter and Joy would return together. Suddenly, they noticed a figure approaching in the darkness. As it came closer, they realized it was Peter. They rushed to him. "Where is Joy?" they asked. Peter looked confused. "What do you mean?" he said. "Wasn't she with you people the whole time?" Those words pierced through their hearts like a bullet. They started crying and shouting Joy's name. Peter began acting as if he was in pain. The noise attracted neighbors. People came out of their houses to see what was happening. When they heard that Joy was missing, they were shocked. The next day, the news spread through Abeni like wildfire. Some villagers said, "That family has suffered enough." Others said, "It is because they are cursed. Very soon, all of them would disappear." Those who were genuinely concerned joined Peter and his family to search for Joy. They searched the evil forest, the road, the stream, everywhere. There was no trace of her. Peter, who had sacrificed his own daughter, was always at the front, pretending to know nothing. Days passed. Weeks passed. Slowly, the villagers stopped joining the search. "She'd move on," they said. "You would never find her." After 4 months of intense searching, the family finally accepted that Joy was gone. Peter saw this as the perfect time to reveal his wealth. He told his family a story about how he had gotten a job and how the job had transformed his life. Then he asked them to follow him. When they arrived at the mansion, they were shocked. The house was massive. Inside were expensive cars that even 20 years of their hard work could not buy. But instead of being excited, they became suspicious. Things were not adding up. Finally, Grace spoke. "Please," she said softly, "tell us the truth. Where did you get the money?" Peter snapped. "What do you mean by that?" he shouted. "I've told you already. What more do you want to hear?" His anger made everything worse. Grace looked at the children. "I'm leaving," she said. They all agreed and they walked away, leaving Peter alone with his dirty money. Peter was furious. "Why would they reject everything?" he shouted. "Are they not tired of poverty?" Grace wasn't convinced. She remembered how desperate Peter was when they were poor, how he treated them like trash, how he allowed people's word to poison his heart. Could it be that he used our daughter to get this wealth? She wondered. The children had the same thoughts. That was why none of them wanted to spend his money. They feared that they would be eating money made from the sacrifice of Joy. But they had no proof, so they kept quiet. Soon, Peter's sudden wealth became known throughout Abeni. Gossip spread. Some villagers said he used his daughter. Others envied him. Some insulted his family for leaving him. If not for his wife and children, he wouldn't have been poor, they said. Now that he's free from them, look at how rich he is. No one knew the truth. Despite all the wealth, Peter was not satisfied. When he looked at the room filled with money, it looked empty to him. His greed grew. He couldn't sleep. One day, he said to himself, "Those people I call family are the source of my problem. They are useless to me. I will sacrifice them all." then I'll be the richest man on earth. He hired people from another town to kidnap them. One afternoon, Grace and the children were at home. The neighbors were not around. Everywhere was quiet. Suddenly, the hired men arrived. They blindfolded Grace and the children, tied them up, and put them into a van. Then, Peter paid the men and sent them away. He drove his family to the forest where the pot was. He made them kneel. When he removed their blindfold, they were shocked. "Were you the one who asked those people to kidnap us?" Grace cried. "Why did you bring us here?" Peter smiled wickedly. "Do you want to know what happened to Joy?" he said. "I sacrificed her. She is the reason I became rich." They froze. They could no longer recognize the man standing before them. "This pot," Peter continued, "I call it the pot of riches." He explained everything. When they looked into the pot, they only saw darkness, a bottomless pit. They were terrified. With tears in their eyes, they said, "After everything, we supported you, we loved you, we suffered with you, and this is how you repay us?" Peter said nothing. He raised his machete, ready to attack. Suddenly, a voice came from the pot. "You are a greedy man," it said. "You have failed as a father and as a husband." The voice continued. "The day you decided to leave, your life would have changed for good. Your family would have become richer than anyone in this village. But you returned, you sacrificed your daughter, and now you want to sacrifice the rest. This pot was a test. You failed, now you will suffer the consequences." The pot disappeared forever. Immediately, Peter went mad. He tore his clothes and ran into the street like a madman. His family stood there, heartbroken. Despite everything he had done, it still hurt them to see him like that. But he brought it upon himself. They could no longer stay in Abeni. That town carried nothing but pain, shame, and memories they could no longer live with. With the little money Grace had saved over the years, she gathered her children and left quietly before dawn. In the city, life was hard. They rented a small, cramped room at the edge of town. Many nights, they went to bed, tired and hungry. Grace refused to let suffering destroy her family. She started a small food business with her own hands, waking up before sunrise and returning late at night. The children helped her in every way they could, running errands, serving customers, and doing honest work. They worked together. They endured together. Slowly, people began to notice Grace's consistency and integrity. Customers returned. The business grew. From a small table, she moved to a shop. From one shop, she opened another shop. Money came, not suddenly, not mysteriously, but through patience, sweat, and unity. They were no longer poor. Yet, no matter how comfortable life became, there was always a silent pain in their home. Joy's absence never left them. Quiet evening, as the family sat together after a long day's work, there was a gentle knock on the door. Grace stood up slowly. Her heart began to race for no reason she could explain. When she opened the door, the world froze. Standing there was Joy. She was alive. Grace screamed and fell to her knees. "My child," she cried, holding her as if she might vanish again. The children surrounded them, touching Joy's face and hand, crying openly. Joy told them everything. She explained that when Peter attacked her, she lost consciousness but did not die. The pot made her disappear, protecting her from the evil that had been unleashed, waiting for the right moment to return her to her family. That night, Tears washed away years of pain. Peter chose greed and lost his mind. Grace chose endurance and saved her family. They learned that money gotten through evil would never bring peace. Greed destroys faster than poverty. True wealth is built through love, patience, and unity. And when joy finally returned, the family understood something greater than riches. No amount of money is worth a human life. And no darkness is stronger than a family that refused to give up on goodness. They lived not just as a wealthy family, but as a healed one. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned and subscribe for more stories.